Greetings, ladies and gentlefish, and welcome to this review of the Stug III, the German Tier 4/5 tank destroyer. Just a little bit of history for you. Essentially, where did this vehicle come from? I mean, this was one of the most widely manufactured vehicles of the war. And essentially, this vehicle came from the fact that the Panzer III was becoming obsolete. It couldn't mount a 75mm gun. The turret ring wasn't big enough to mount a turret that would be big enough to fit the cannon breech of a 75mm gun inside it. So, no 75mm gun for the Panzer III. And so the options were either to relegate the machines to training units, which happened in some cases, or to chop the top of the tank off, mount a larger caliber gun in a casement on top of it, and turn them into a tank destroyer, and thus the Stug III was born. Stug is short for the German word for tank destroyer or something like that, Stug III, because it's based on the chassis of the Panzer III. Now in game, I should mention this was a very successful machine, produced in very large numbers, even to the point that it was used by some of the Middle Eastern states against Israel in the latter part of the 20th century. So you had these things, poor things, going up against the likes of Centurions and later machines. Imagine how painful that would have been. Anyway, in terms of the game, the Stug III sits at 2 points on the tech tree. It's at Tier 4 and indeed Tier 5. The Tier 5 is the original Stug as it was in the game. The Tier 4 is a more recent addition. And basically, the Tier 4 sits at this sort of awkward spot in the tech tree because there are essentially two German tank destroyer lines. There's one that branches off from the Marder, goes through the Hetzer to the Stug 3G, Jagdpanzer IV, Jagdpanther, etc. And the second line, Marder 3, then goes to the Marder 38T, branches up to the Panzer Soufflé 4C, Nashorn, Sturder Emil, etc. And the Stug 3B sits in this awkward spot, allowing you to transition from the Marder 38T down to the original German tank destroyer line. The thing is, why would you ever want to do that? Because it's only a Tier 4 machine. I mean, surely you could have made your decision which TD line you wanted to go down on the previous day. Tier 4 machines don't exactly take long to grind out, and even if you'd got it wrong, just go back to the Hetzer. I mean, this is adding in an additional step anyway, because this, although it looks like a progression, this is actually a sidestep. You're going from a Tier 4 machine to a Tier 4 machine. So if you've unlocked both of these machines from the Marder 2, and you might as well, if you realise you don't actually want to play the Marder 38T, why not just then sell it and buy the Hetzer rather than buying yet another machine to fill in the gap? Maybe the Stug 3B is really good. Nah, not really. If you want to use, if you want a long-range sniper, play the Marder 38T, it's better. If you want to pack a 105mm howitzer and dirt people to death, play the Hetzer, it's better. This is in a sort of really awkward middle ground. Of course, the reason it was probably introduced was because of historical battles. Stug 3B turned up in historical battles, and its premiere had it fighting against Matildas and Valentines with that garbage little short stubby 75mm gun, and it was a painful experience. And historical battles are not currently in the game. Maybe we'll see them return at a later date, maybe we won't, but I don't like this machine in-game, and I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I think it's an inferior machine to either the Marder or the Hetzer. So the one we're talking about is the Stug 3G. So what do you actually get with this? Well, you get 350 hit points, which is very standard for Tier 5 tank destroyers. It's not that heavy at 23.5-ish tons, and with its with a 440 horsepower engine, that actually means that its power to weight ratio is fairly respectable, and so its acceleration is pretty respectable as well. Combine that with the traverse speed of 44 degrees per second, and what you actually have is a fairly mobile, very nimble little tank destroyer. The hull armour is 80mm thick. What this means in practice, I would like to talk a little bit more about that later, but a tank inspector is having a bit of a hissy fit. What that means in practice is that you will probably bounce guns that have penetration values of less than 100mm. We'll talk about the gun in a bit. The view range is pretty terrible at 310 meters. You often find with these low-profile, closed tank destroyers, they have pretty bad view range. Signal range is also not very good at 415 meters. But this is a tank destroyer, you buy it for the gun. So what is the gun like? Well, there's a whole variety of guns. I'm not going to go through all of them, I'm just going to concentrate on two, and they are going to be the L70 and the L28. So these are the two guns you're going to be making a decision between. The L28, this will carry over from the Hetzer at Tier 4. This is the 105mm howitzer. What you get is the 105mm howitzer. You'll be familiar with it by now, but it does get a good aim time on the Stug. It's not a massive buff over the gun that the Hetzer used, and the Stug isn't really a close-range tank destroyer. I don't personally think this is really the right gun for this machine, but I guess you could use it if you wanted. The moneymaker for me is this, the 75mm Pak 42 L70. This is the gun that, well, historically this was basically the gun that was mounted on the Panther. This is the tank destroyer version. 75mm gun, 13 rounds a minute, which is pretty good. 150 pen, 135 alpha damage. The alpha damage is a little bit lackluster, but it's alright. The penetration's fairly respectable. That goes up to 194 with premium ammunition. Standard 75mm high explosive. Very, very, very good accuracy, 0.33 average dispersion at 100 meters, and a very good aim time of 1.7 seconds. This is a damn good gun, and you better get used to it, because at Tier 6 on the machine after this, you're going to be lumbered, quite likely, with exactly the same weapon. But, nonetheless, this is the gun I have fitted to the Stug here, and this is the gun I recommend you use. Go for it. One thing I should note on the subject of the gun is the ammo capacity. This thing only carries 36 shells, which when you only do 130 odd alpha damage per shot can be a problem, especially in Tier 7 games, as you slowly chip away at someone's health and then run out of ammunition. You can see my ammo loadout is 2 rounds of high explosive, occasionally they're useful, 4 of APCR, mainly for those Tier 7 games, and 30 rounds of armor piercing. But as I say, ammo count can be a bit of a problem with this machine. And I think the machine that at Tier 5 this is the most easily compared to is the SU-85. And you can make a case for them either way, which one you prefer, but the two are very similar machines. They're both very good machines, but they're both also quite reliant on their team, because they don't have ridiculous armor, and because they have pretty poor view range, so they need other people to spot for them. One thing you might be wondering, well, is this better than the other German Tier 5 tank destroyer? Indeed, the other one is newer. So, is the other one superior? Well, in my opinion, no. I think the Stug is better. In short, I believe this machine, which is the Panzer Soufflé, the other Tier 5 German tank destroyer, I think it sacrifices too much to mount this 88mm gun. It's a very good gun, but for my money it sacrifices too much to mount it. The Stug is a nice combination of gun, mobility, with one exception, its reverse speed is garbage. If you get caught out, if you're spotted and get caught out, you can try and reverse, but it's more than likely you'll just die before you get out of trouble, so that is something worth bearing in mind. But overall, this is quite a nice combination of firepower and mobility, and I think this is a pretty decent little machine. Crew skills, Sixth Sense, and then you can make a case for camo or repairs on the other three. I would say if you're going to keep this crew in this tank, you probably want repairs. You probably want camo initially. If this crew is just going to be moving up the German TD line, I would probably recommend repairs. In terms of crew skills, consumables, I've just got the standard 3 consumables here: first aid kit, repair kit, fire extinguisher. Equipment, I just used a grinding equipment on this, you know, pauper set, toolbox, binos, camo net. What would I recommend? Well, I would say binos, because sometimes, you know, this is in this game, as in many online games, as in life in general, you have to come to the conclusion that other people are incompetent, and they're not going to do things for you. So you're going to have to, often, you're probably going to have to go and spot for yourself, which means you need the view range to do it, and the only way you're going to get the view range to do it is by taking binocular telescopes. Camo net, also a good choice. It's stealthy to start with. You want to keep yourself stealthy. This is not something that likes to be shot at. And this has a pretty decent gun traverse arc, so you shouldn't have to move the tank too much and reset your camo net and binos. And the third bit of equipment I would recommend, you could make a case for a variety of things, but I would probably say gun rammer to increase the DPM. I, of course, as I say, used a pauper set of equipment to grind this out. So having waffled on about this for probably far too long, let's go and have have a quick look at Tank Inspector, and then show you some gameplay. Well, obviously I wanted to talk to you about the armour of this thing, but it appears Tank Inspector is throwing a little bit of a wobbly and is refusing to render the model, which is kind of irritating, but I will just quickly say a couple of things about it. One, you get 7 degrees of gun depression with this machine, which is not amazing, but it's not terrible either. 2, your armour from the side and rear is garbage, don't even think about it, you could even get penned by HE rounds. 3, from the front, don't expect to bounce anything, but you can bounce shots that have 100 pen or less, especially if they're fired from distance. So, you know, tier 3s and 4s and the odd tier 5 might have difficulties penetrating you from the front, unless they switch to premium ammunition. But most people are just going to go through you like a hot knife through butter. So sorry about the lack of tank model. Tank Inspector, as I say, is just being silly. Never mind, c'est la vie. So without further ado, let's go and have a quick look at some gameplay. This is game number 1, tier 5 game, and we are here on Redshire. We are therefore obviously top tier, as it's a tier 5 game, and the map, as it's a map that it has big open spaces that generally speaking tend to favour longer range engagements. Hopefully this should suit a Stug fairly well. T49 is trying to bring people's attention to the D0 region. First there wins. That's fair enough, but I have no intention of going over there because the Stug is very much a traditional tank destroyer that likes to engage its enemies from range. Someone is having fun with their auto cannon. Maybe the Panzer 1C, I don't know. Looked like Panzer 1C. So I am going to go up to what is my... Oh no, it was the looks. I don't know why he's just firing off like that. I haven't got a clue. Oh well, whatever. I am going to go to my preferred medium light tank destroyer spot on this map. So most tanks. Which is occupying these bushes, to try and spot people and or get long range shots on them. So that Panzer 3-4 gets spotted and he just keeps coming. He's probably going to die, but alas I couldn't get any shots on him, and I'm not going to go down there to try and kill him because that will be a very, very good way of winding up dead myself. Ooh, lots of people have just been spotted, so who to shoot at? Well, I'd better hurry up and shoot at someone. No shots on the Chiha. T49, 1 shot. We've lost 2 tanks already, alas. 2 shots. Can I put the 3rd shot in to finish this guy off? And there we go. Kill number 1. So our team is currently losing 1 kill to 3. That T49, who wanted to race to see who could get to D0 the first, died. Never mind. Hetzer down there. Despite the fact this is a tier 5 game, he would still be a valuable kill. Hetzer's a dangerous machine, but I don't have any shots on him, but it looks like hopefully he's going to die soon anyway. There's also a UE-57, who hopefully is also going to die soon. Yes, he is. There we go, kill number 2. A very cheap kill number 2, but kill's a kill and we're winning 5 kills to 3. Alas, our KV-1 has not decided to go to the region of the map where he would be most helpful. He is instead camping out. Well, he's sticking in the town, which is irritating. Take up that Panzer 4 for kill number 3. Chiha over there? No, he's not spotted anymore. I have a blind shot, which is probably a mistake because this tank does not get a vast ammo capacity with this gun. Waiting for someone to pop their nose up above the ridgeline, and then I can pour fire into them. We just lost our VK3001H, alas. Panzer 1C. Nope. Very small target, and at this range that's an awkward shot. Oh, ninja. He's playing well, his movements are unpredictable. Well done to him, and I clipped that rock. That's annoying. Oh well. So I'm having these shots at a target that's very unlikely to really do any damage. Oh, I say that, and then I put a nice big hit of 151 through his side, which is burning through my ammunition. We're currently winning 8 kills to 7. Now, the valley is gone, so I'm telling this KV1 to fall back, because if he does, I can hopefully get shots on people that come through the valley and actually help him. By the valley I mean the section along the 0 line where the heavies tend to go to fight it out on this map. That shot was a miss, alas. And the Panzer 1C disappears from view. Probably going to go and kill our artillery or something. KV1 by the look of it though puts a decent shot into one of the enemy Churchills, but we just lost a couple of tanks who decided to go around the left flank. Panzer 1C is indeed making a beeline for our artillery. We managed to stop him getting there. Hopefully our artillery has the common sense to move now that he's been spotted. Oh, the enemy team doesn't have any artillery remaining, so it's not quite such a pressing concern. That's kill number 4. Type T-34 over on the left-hand flank. Panzer 38T there. Oh, very small target at this range. And there's the VK 3001H. Put a shot into him. Another one. Oh, okay, back off, back off, back off. Biggest problem with the Stug, its reverse speed is not the best. And I think that's because I think this Chi-Ha spotted me, which is irritating. So we're currently losing 10 kills to 11, and I've now lost basically 2/3 of my health from 2 hits, which is irritating, probably from those heavy tanks that are still out there. So our KV1 is gallantly moving forward. That may also potentially be quite stupid. We just lost our SU-85. Panzer 38. Kill the Panzer 38. Chi-Ha. No shot on the Chi-Ha. Scoreline is currently 11-12. But they have the advantage, methinks. That KV1 is taking a right real pasting. He's losing his health so quickly. Nope, missed that shot. Oh, there he is. There we go. There is kill number 6. Now there's the VK, last time I saw him over by about sort of C5 area. Our KV1 is moving forwards. Type T-34 I think is over on the other flank, he is a bit of a worry. And then of course there's our artillery. Oh, they've also got a Churchill 3 who I think is on quite low health, but that might have been the Churchill 1, I'm not sure. And there's the Churchill. Oh, he appears to be putting effective fire into our KV, and I just don't have a shot. Damn it. That's annoying. That KV did not play a particularly good game, but I don't want to be... His positioning was wrong, basically. But I don't want to be too harsh to him. You know, he might be a relatively new player, or whatever. And the enemy team has played well. The 3 remaining guys have 10 kills between them, which is more than my 6, so there we go. Type T-34 takes out the SU-5, which lets me know the T-34 is behind me, which is a worry. So I'm just trying to get into a better position. So myself and him are going to be fighting for Top Gun, but it looks like the enemy team's going to win, which would mean well, the Type T-34 is probably going to get more experience than me, because most of my kills have been relatively low health ones. Taking shots there, ow, VK gets me. That was the end of the game. And the Type T-34 actually gets the Top Gun from that match, but hopefully you can see the sort of thing you can expect from the Stug when it is top tier. We weren't quite able to carry that match, alas. It was a defeat, but still a respectable game. So, have a look at the post-battle results, and then we'll look at game number 2, where we are no longer top tier. Here's game number 2, which is, of course, a tier 7 game. We are here on Prokhorovka. It is a standard game on that map. And as we're in a tank destroyer, I'm not going to do what you've seen me do 1,000 times before and spot from a bush at about E9. I'm not going to do that. In fact, instead, I'm actually going to go to the other side of the map. Yep, here we go. Whee! And try and put some shots down the 1 and 2 lines, if anyone advances down there. That's pretty much the plan. Now there's a Chinu, although he's not fully upgraded, coming with me, along with an M6 and a VK3601H. So none of the top tiers, but you know, it's not too shabby. So priority number 1 is to find a nice piece of cover to hide behind, in an effort to try to not be spotted. There we go, that'll do. I can't actually see through this piece of cover, therefore the enemy can't see through it to shoot me when I open fire. Let the camping commence. Alright, A43 pops up in the mid-ridge. It looks like he's trying to spot our team. And our M6 starts moving up. A43 takes a nice big bit of pain to his face, but we lose a KV-1S. And to give them credit where credit's due, both of our heavy tanks on this flank are taking more advanced positions. They're not just sitting at the back here, doing nothing. So, you know, as I say, credit where credit is due. We've traded a KV-1S for a T-43, which is a good trade. I'll trade a tier 6 tank for a tier 7 pretty much any day of the week. That's fine by me, even if it is a KV-1S. And this, I should point out, of course, is a patch 9.2 game. So this is the old KV-1S, the tier 6 heavy tank, not the new KV-1S. So our heavy tanks and medium tank here are moving further forward. We now have another medium tank over here, Panzer IVs, which is concerning me a little bit because there's now quite a few of us over here. Now we're not heavy tanks, but there are quite a few in this direction. So I'm telling the guys on the 1 and 2 line to push. You know, let's not play this passively. Try not to just get yourselves killed. But yeah, we need to keep moving up. KV-1, do I have any shots? Ooh, potentially I do. Yes. Wait for the gun to aim. And there we go. Put some damage into that KV-1. KV-1 though moves. I don't think he wants to keep taking those shots. I wonder why. So we take out their KV-1S, but we lose a T1 heavy. So we've currently lost a tier 7, a tier 6 and a tier 5. And the enemy team has lost a tier 7 and a tier 6. And you really do need to be patient playing these tank destroyers. These sort of very traditional style tank destroyers. One of the enemy team just killed an ally. A44 killed a T34. Okay, I'm down with that. I'm not really sure. I assume it was an accident, but I'm down with that. And oh, we've lost the hill. We've just got people sitting at B6. Oh dear, this is worrying. But if they do break through on that flank, then from over here I can position such that I can still get fire toward our cap circle, and there we go. We just lost 2 tanks in quick succession. It doesn't appear the enemy team have really put anyone on this side of the map. Alas, that's problematic for us. That Panzer IV's at A2 is just sitting there. I don't really know what he's doing. But there we go. Right, the scoreline is currently 4-6. And the guys ahead of me there are now getting out of my render range, so I need to move forwards. And I'm starting to move left a bit because I'm going to probably need to start putting fire into the people who are breaking through on the other side of the map and across the middle. KV-1 has disappeared. T-49. Don't have shots on the T-49. Scoreline is 4-8. And back to the KV-1. Shots on the rear of him. That one misses. That one hits. And he's dead. T-49 has disappeared from view. So VK is moving up. T-49 has been spotted again, but I don't think I've really got any shots onto him. Oh, there's another KV-1 in the middle of the map. Can I shoot him at all? Oh, he takes an awfully big hit there. KV-1S just killed our VK, so there's a KV-1S in the vicinity of their base. We killed their KV-1, but oh dear, right. This is where the enemy tanks have started coming. I take that shot unaimed, which is perhaps a bit silly, but there we go. M6, there's one shot in. M6 backs off. Black Prince, KV-1S, choose one. I need to shoot these guys. We need to defend our base. That one, alas, does not penetrate the Black Prince. Hit that KV-1S. I do get rather unlucky with many of my shots here, alas, which is kind of frustrating. That one bounces. You know, a lot of my shots here do miss, where well, they could very easily have hit. So I switch targets to this IS because our guys are in trouble and I don't have good shots on the people near our base. Alas, the IS turns and angles. T1 is down. So, side of the Black Prince. There we go. There's one shot in. There's another. Just trying to work this guy over. There's another. But there's now only 2 of us left, myself and this Chi-Nu. And I can't spot the people near our base anymore. T-49 dies, and then I get one shot by the IS. Ah, it's one of those games. Alas, this is a review where the 2 games I bring you are both defeats, and a lot of the shots I fired just didn't really seem to connect, which was irritating. A lot more of the shots I fired I would have expected to have hit in that game, but never mind. Let's not worry about that. We'll just see this one out. Chi-Nu, he's not fully upgraded, and IS just blats him. So, we lost that game, but we managed to put in a respectable amount of damage, almost 1,000, when we were bottom tier. And if you look at our XP score, it doesn't look fantastic, and that's because we weren't really spotting for ourselves, but, as I say, a respectable amount of damage, so it wasn't too bad. This thing can still perform when it is bottom tier. When you are bottom tier, though, perhaps your biggest nemesis becomes your ammo count. When you're doing 130 damage per shot, and you're shooting a tier 7 heavy, it takes you 10 fully penetrating hits to kill it. Well, you only have 30-something rounds of ammunition. 36, I think. So you can kill 3 and a bit top tier heavies. You know, you really do start having ammunition problems. Anyway. That's enough of me yabbering on. Have a look at the post-battle results, and then we'll just flip back to the garage. So what do I think about this tank overall? I think it's a pretty solid machine. I think it's your archetypal tank destroyer. It relies upon the rest of your team really to do the spotting. It sits at the back and it shoots things. It's good at what it does. There are downsides. The reverse speed is painful. The low ammo count can be problematic and can make you worry. But the gun is really good. The machine is stealthy, it's mobile, it's nimble. People will try and circle you to death and then they'll realise, oh crap, that thing can turn, and then they'll get shot to ribbons. It does have a lot going for it, this tank. Am I keeping it? No, I'm not keeping it. Why? There are other tier 5s I'd rather play. As I say, the playstyle of this is very much a traditional tank destroyer role, sitting at the back, shooting things as they appear. It's not really my preferred playstyle. I get a bit bored doing that. So I'd rather play like a medium or something at tier 5. So that's the only reason I'm not keeping it. But I do recommend this tank. It's a nice machine. It's a well-rounded machine. And it's a good little piece of kit. So I hope you guys enjoyed that review, maybe even found it vaguely informative. If you did, please feel free to catch some of my other videos and or subscribe to my channel. And I wish you very happy hunting on that battlefield. Ciao ciao.